Sometimes when you call a friend and you say, I need your help, you can't ask me what it is, you can never ask me later about it, and we're probably going to hurt some people. All the answer that you're looking for is, whose car are we going to take? And that's exactly what I did with Ryen Russillo, my good friend here.
I had no idea when I agreed to this that it was the NBA playoffs.
And he's been complaining ever since. But he said yes, and here we are in Ryan's wonderful home in Manhattan Beach, day 3 of the draft. I've spent it sitting on sets sweating. I've spent it sitting on sets freezing, rain-soaked notes. And now I get to sit here with the ocean in the backdrop amongst good friends, Ryen Russillo's. Muench, would you get over here?
All right, good. I was worried.
Muench is a busy man, as we talked about yesterday. He's got the ESPN draft tracker. He's doing 2 jobs at once, and we love him for it. He's a busy, busy guy.
He'd pop it up in a second.
And you know what? He may be jumping in and out. We'll have him in the background. We can eavesdrop on him the whole time. But here we are, day 3 of the draft. And there's a lot to get to, but you can't start this coverage with Shedeur Sanders being drafted just a handful of picks ago. We're in the 5th round still. He was drafted at 144 overall in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns as the 2nd quarterback they drafted. Your initial thoughts?
Without the Dillon Gabriel pick, it actually makes a lot of sense because if you look at their depth chart, you're like, okay, Watson's probably on IR for another year. And I think there's an insurance money conversation about keeping him around on the IR as opposed to taking on more dead money, which is a different thing. You've got Flacco, you've got Pickett. So if that were the case, through all of this stuff that I know we'll get to, it felt like without the Gabriel pick, like, okay, this might actually work out, as disappointing as these 2 days have been. But the Gabriel pick at the 3rd round, that concerns me now because it's like, well, what's the point?
What are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a value play. Like, okay, our grade on him, despite all of this, is way better than him being in the 5th round. So get back in there. I mean, clearly Cleveland passed him, 6 times, not even including some of the trades. So I would like it way more if they didn't pick Gabriel ahead of him, who I would still think I would have thought would be behind Sanders in the evaluations.
It wasn't mine. I mean, he definitely wasn't mine. I mean, I thought Will Howard was ahead of him. I thought Quinn Ewers was ahead of him. I'm talking about Gabriel now.
Right, yeah.
A lot of guys are ahead of him. So the fact that, I mean, that pick really kind of stunned me more than anything else. That's kind of quietly hidden in all this or overlooked on this.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
How do we take him so early? Like, why is it him? Like, other guys I would have gotten, right? I said it to you last night. I'm like, Will Howard, like, their scheme is like a guy who can be accurate and smart. Well, Will Howard just killed it in the playoffs with all of that stuff about managing an offense.
Yep.
Why not Will Howard? So then you take Gabriel, and now you're going to have these 2 guys compete. And I like throwing a lot of darts. Like, if you want to fill a need or you want to get a quarterback, like, take a bunch of quarterbacks if you want.
Yeah.
But the way they've done it, who they've done it with, like, you can't tell me that with that pick where they got Gabriel, they couldn't have gotten a better player or a better quarterback. So that, to me, was a head-scratcher. It's all going to be about Shedeur, I get it. But I don't get the pick for Gabriel.
I should mention, we're here for 2 hours. We appreciate you joining us, right? It's day 3 of the draft. This is for the diehards, and we know if you're watching right now, you're a diehard with us.
I'm tweeting this out to all my followers right now.
Yeah. Get the crew good. Hey, Mench's Mafia, they're aware we're here, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be here for 2 hours. Hopefully you want to hang with us and have some fun. The fascinating part of all of this, and I'm not going to go on a long rant. If you're interested in my take on how it got to this point, and I went into a lot of it yesterday on our review show. When I was waiting for Muench to come into the room, when he was finishing up his duties, in the very beginning of the review show yesterday, which you can find on YouTube, I went on a probably 30-minute rant. And to summarize it, it's all about a pool, right? And it's like any person who goes for a job interview. And there's 32 companies that you'd like to go work for, right? And automatically about 12 to 15 of those companies are out because they have someone who's awesome at that job already that they're paying a lot of money. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, like the list goes on and on, okay? The pool starts to shrink then too when you look at the skill set. And he's not the biggest, not the strongest arm, not the most mobile. And so there are some organizations, I talked to you about it for 2 months now. Brian Daboll wants someone more like Josh Allen. Those traits, Jackson Dart fit perfectly. Talk about New Orleans, Kellen Moore.
The Dart one, though, I think is like, anytime I hear this guy's a culture setter, I'm like, you don't know that. That's total bullshit. Like, you have no, I mean, maybe Jackson Dart's awesome.
Let
like,
him
the
know,
parts,
yeah.
like, even going back to SC, the thing I love the most about Jackson Dart is that he did not care about his body. Like, you would have thought coaches would have had to pull him aside at some point and be like, we love that this is in you. We love that you have the Thor face paint. But, like, get out of bounds, man. Slide a little bit more. So maybe all those things are true, but I guess I'm at a point.
What's one of the biggest complaints about Josh Allen?
Well, that he can't protect himself.
Yes.
Right. So maybe that's why
And
he
why,
likes
and why
him.
do his teammates love him?
But a comp.
And does that change the culture?
Yeah, no, you're right. So you're actually using my breakdown of him against me. I just am at an age now where I don't hear anything that ever feels unique, that it's all propaganda, and that like every single interview is just, hey man, this guy's a real tone.
I get so grumpy about it.
They're like, dude, there's how many guys are in camp before you even get to the 53? Like, imagine a dude who's been in and out of the league 6 years, is wondering where his paycheck is coming from. He's like, man, I was on the fence about this, but fucking Jackson Dart gets it.
He's a tone setter.
It's just such an like, it may be something down the road, but I just think first day in through the doors, maybe I'm being way too critical.
There are guys like
There's just too many quotes. The lead up to the draft and throughout the draft and all that stuff. I've read too much, Todd. I've read too much.
I didn't have us 6 minutes into the show or whatever it is
Going
like banging on Jackson Dart.
Well, the problem is I've been watching the Jacksonville GM, and I want to just absolutely I want to interview people about his interview.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it? You should watch it if you haven't seen it, man.
No,
it's crazy.
You like Newsroom, right, from Sorkin?
I
You'll
actually
love
do.
this
So
guy.
good.
You'll love this guy then.
I mean, you hate him.
It's not even, you're not banging on Jackson Dart, though. It's the coverage, really. It's the reaction. It's the way he's being covered, right?
I just think it's asking a lot because, I mean, if Jackson Dart were all of those things, then how does he not go in the top 10?
Right.
Right? Because
You love him so much, you didn't take him at 9.
I think physically,
Or
there's a ton of stuff about
3.
him that we really like. I mean, well, give me your Cliff Notes of why a Jackson Dart, if he's all of these things, why he's not going in the top 10.
Why he doesn't go in the top 10 is there's concern he's coming from Lane Kiffin's offense.
Right.
And in that offense, there's not.
Is this like a Baylor offense thing?
No, it's not a Baylor offense thing. But there's
loves when I do that.
there's elements of that kind of discussion, and there's a lot of predetermined. Lane Kiffin's an offensive. I hate the word genius, but
It's fun to watch.
he's a step ahead in most people offensively.
There's too many people like you that know it way better than I do that watch the way he dials up a game and goes, this guy's at another level. So
He's at another level.
I never hear anything
And
else.
so what he
Right.
does is he exploits college defenses and specifically college defensive backs, and he's going to throw some concept. But instead of having this big catalog of concepts, he's got kind of a tiny catalog, right? But what he does with that is motions, formations, shift, like all these different things to dial up kind of the same play and the same concepts, like the sail concept you see against Florida this year.
Yeah.
3 times they ran it. Okay.
Right.
Same to the left side.
It's just a brutal game to use.
And it was but people think it is a brutal game.
Okay.
I thought it was his best game.
Are you serious?
It's not the best ending.
The 3 interceptions, 2 of which were counted. 3 interceptions at the end were his worst plays of his career.
Yeah, I would say
But he
Kentucky
kept them in that game.
The problem is like if I look at the end of the Kentucky game and then I compound that with the Florida game, and I don't even know. Like sometimes, guys end the game by being too risky, and you're like, well, at least I have that instead of a guy throwing short
Right.
of sticks. So, when I look at Jackson, like those were really disappointing endings, and it felt like they very much were on him as opposed to like what else is he supposed to do? He's supposed
Right.
to take some sort of chance. I don't know that means that's exactly who he's going to be the rest of the time. But you seem to think the Florida tape is like way better than maybe just a guy like me watching it at home.
He makes some plays on
He
that
makes
tape.
some see the thing with him as a runner is he doesn't run when he doesn't need to run. He runs in situations and moments. Situations where there's no other option.
And look, I'd rather have tough than scared, which he certainly
Right.
checks that
Right.
box too. But
what I love, there's a lot to like about him. Okay, he does. Ironically, like there's more energy on his ball and like deep outs and those sorts of things. He doesn't drive it vertically great, but I watched 161 plays in his clip reel versus pressure. Okay, the climbing, the instincts of feeling the pressure. With like Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, there was a lot of retreating. There was a lot of drifting. There was a lot of scrambling out, to right, left. With him, he's moving the offense forward. If there's trouble, he's advancing it.
okay.
Okay? And here's the part. Everyone said, well, I don't know how he processes Lane Kiffin's offense. A lot of predetermines, a lot of like small catalog of concepts. But when the game's moving and the bullets are flying, I think he might process as fast as anyone in this class. And Brian Daboll, I don't know your thoughts on Brian Daboll. I know, fans and people are like, well, he hasn't won. And Daniel Jones, we didn't pick Daniel Jones.
Right.
And the best that Daniel Jones ever looked was the one season he actually was healthy, and he got the most out of him. I think Brian's like in a short stack of coaches in terms of like offensive minds. He's one of like the Lane Kiffins we talk about in college. He's that at the NFL level. And so now he gets his guy. And Joe Schoen, I give him credit. He managed the draft, got his guy. The only pick he could have made at 3 is Abdul Carter. But then he sat back and said, I've got one uniquely qualified individual in this organization to make a decision on quarterback, and it's Brian. And Brian's telling me we need Jackson Dart. And by the way, I don't know if we'll ever know for sure. I'm pretty sure the Rams were going to take him at 26.
No kidding.
Really?
And that's why they want. And I think they were very much concerned. And that it turned out it wasn't a race against Mickey Loomis and the New Orleans Saints from 40 on up and like this game of chicken. It was, we're getting intel at 26, Les Snead, McVay, they could bring him in. They like him a lot. We better get up ahead of him, and that's why they moved up to 25 with Houston to make that pick.
Timeout. Gladstone's talking about the pyramids right now. So.
All right, so give me,
need a whole
you
show
guys
on
are both,
this.
I'm going to sit back. I want to listen.
I didn't hear the whole thing.
Give me the Cliff Notes. I gave you the Cliff Notes on Dart. I want the Cliff Notes. What's going on with
Really
the
quickly,
class?
I heard him for
and his
about
part,
20
and his part of
seconds.
it, the way he kind of the look and the vibe he gives off.
It's massive ageism.
It's the tone.
Yeah,
totally,
It's
right.
the tone and the,
Right.
and like not for it's good to be confident. I guess the confidence is
I
a
don't even
little
care.
odd.
I'm all for the confidence. Again, I'd rather we
All right,
talk about Jackson Dart.
I watched about 20 seconds and I was like,
I'd rather
click.
have confident than not confident, especially when you're talking about people
True.
who have to take this much criticism and have these jobs. But I just feel like Gladstone went in there and said a million like tech bro vest things. And they were like, this guy's a genius.
He's a philosopher.
Granted, he's
Yeah,
with
right.
the Rams, so the Rams would know far better than I would. You would think that ownership there would call Rams ownership and be like, tell us about this guy. But he's a thing right now. He's a thing right now because he used ecosystem. He said in this space. He said tangibly rich people.
Buzzwords.
I mean, it was just, and then he did some speech when he had Travis Hunter next to him. Basically,
I heard that was
It was
awkward.
actually pretty moving, except it was also felt like really bullshitty, where he was like, he provides
Right.
belief. So it's just a lot of
He's like,
stuff
when
where
I-
I'm
he's-
like,
he started off with like, when I think about this game, and I'm like, dude, you're so young. Like, you're like, how is your perspective like this? Calm down.
that just made me think he killed the interview. Like I had a roommate like this once, and
Okay.
everybody loved him immediately, and I was like, I don't know. Something might be off. But I think that might
Someone
be
in
the
his roommate's
Massachusetts-
like, oh, dude, I thought
that
I
is
thought we were
so
good.
Massachusetts. Like,
I thought we were good.
We're always the last to come around on somebody, right?
Right, and then it's even worse when somebody is like actually deserving of praise. And we're
Yes.
like, oh, I can't even dump on this guy
Yeah.
because he deserves it. So maybe that's the case here. I don't want to sound like, I already did this on the pod with Breer on Friday because I was like, I feel like a dick making fun of some of these quotes, but like he hit us with everything. I mean, he hit us with everything, and then it came back the next day. So I imagine they're probably having a lot of
He
fun
was on
with it right now.
Chat GPT.
He's like a hotter
Well,
Paul
that's
Dano.
why I love hanging. Like, that's why it's good to have you around.
Yeah,
you
thanks.
kind of give me that angle. I'm way more like this. Like Marissa does that for me. Like there's like I have like blind spots to some of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, Belichick's dating a young girl. Like, who? I'm not shocked, but like, it's always interesting.
She's
But
on
the
staff,
thing-
I think so. I mean,
She's on the field.
yeah, feels like an HR thing.
Oh yeah, she's on the field, and she better be included in emails. It's interesting to me too. Yeah, you got the best player in the draft, arguably, one of the top 2 players. That was a lot to give away.
Right, but isn't there a part of this, because like what were we all saying about Travis? You're like, I hope he goes somewhere where they let him be him. If there's anything that we learned, at least, as much as we're having fun with some of the quotes, because I'm never going to stop.
It's great. It's entertaining.
It sounds like
why
he's
you are
going
who
to-
you are.
But he's going to a place that fully wants to embrace the Travis Hunter experience. So like we may get to see something we've been told for decades we don't get to see.
Right.
And-
And I'm not sure it happened in Cleveland. I'm not sure they would have done it the same way.
And I'll be honest, is there a single player in this draft that would give them a better shot, the Jaguars that is, of getting in prime time? More than, and I'm not saying that's why they did it. His tape speaks for itself.
I love a ton of dudes on that defense too. Like Trevor Lawrence can finally get back to like, you know, the NFL, it's weird is you can feel like you're so far away, and if a couple things click, like granted, your franchise quarterback playing to the level that we think we've seen,
Right.
that would solve a lot of their problems.
It swings, man.
Well, this started with Shedeur, and it took a couple rights and lefts.
Do you want to do the big Shedeur thing?
No, I don't.
You want to still get?
Well, we have to do it at some point. I mean, I don't know if we close with it or not. I mean, obviously, we all have thoughts.
Well, you're better like laying out shows and stuff. So what do you say, producer, director?
Oh, this is your show, so I'm sorry.
I think this has been humbling for Shedeur Sanders.
I feel humbled. I don't even know him.
All right. I think that
Has it been humbling?
Yeah, I guess that's a good
It
question.
should be humbling.
Yeah.
It would be
think
humbling for
absolutely.
you or I or you.
and I'm not like listen. I'm not in the business of saying that he needs to be humbled. Like
I'm
like,
not. I don't think that's true either. I agree with you on that.
Like who am I to say he needs to be humbled? All I care about. I've said this. I don't know since January. There's one place and one coach I want to see him go play for, and it's Kevin Stefanski. So Kevin Stefanski, remember, you know, he's never needed to work with a big arm, mobile quarterback, right? And you go back, was it Case Keenum? Mm-hmm. Case Keenum, they won 11 games.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, they won 10 games. These are not big, mobile, strong arm guys. And that
Look who
system,
they brought in. They brought
it's
in
about
Kenny Pickett.
fast processing, right? Fast processing, precision, accuracy, leading receivers, yards after catch, all those things. It's the perfect fit. So, yeah, it's weird, but you know, it's weird that Dylan Gabriel gets drafted before him, but you know what that does? Like, there's you're not drafting just Shedeur. It's just like Tim Tebow. You're not just drafting Tim Tebow, you're drafting everything that comes, the cameras, the media attention, the handlers, the different things that you normally don't get with a backup quarterback. And so now it's like, Shedeur, now like we can't adhere to that request. Mm-hmm. We can't, like you're just in line with everybody else. And like his availability media, like when Dylan's available, he'll be available just like. So I think from an organizational standpoint, drafting him where they did, especially in Cleveland, as the second quarterback they drafted, and probably comes in fourth on their depth chart. There's like you're like everybody else. And it's not even to Shedeur as much as it is to everything that comes with Shedeur.
All right, let me start by asking you guys this question. How do the mocks fuck it up this bad?
I didn't have him in the first.
Did you? I mean, if you had to do the 7th round mock that you did for
I did 10 picks. I did 10 picks in the second round, didn't have him there. I would have put him at 83. Here's the deal. I would not have put him at 83 had I done a 7-round mock the night before the draft. I would have put him at Cleveland with one of those 2 picks they had early in the second.
They had the 1st and 4th pick in the second round.
I would have put him there, okay?
Right.
But then...
By the way, the number of times Cleveland, I'll just repeat it, the number of times that they've passed on him, you know, this is not the same thing, okay? But when Baltimore took all these victory laps about, like we saw at Lamar, it's like you actually traded out of the pick 3 times before you traded back in. So good for you trading back in and getting Lamar at the end of the first round. But, I mean, if you really thought he was the man, you would have taken him at 16. You would have taken him in the early 20s, and they took a tight end at 25.
All the time with players.
You know, I'm not making any sort of comparison of Lamar and Shedeur, but I almost feel like Cleveland just got to a point where it was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, our grade on him is this, even if we were, because I think a lot of people were coming in going, all right, he'll go 33rd. He'll be the first pick of the second round. And then, again, when Brewer was on the pod, he's like, I don't think that's happening tonight. And he goes, and if it doesn't happen tonight, he's like, I think he could be in for like a really long weekend. And then here we are. So I want to ask again, can you ever remember somebody being mocked? Like, you could say, all right, the night before, if I were updating the mock, I would have had him in the first. I maybe don't even have him. You just said 83. But, I mean, we're talking about somebody who went in the 5th round. Other than a medical, how does this happen?
And I said this yesterday, that's why it's so important. This wasn't, 144 is where he was drafted. And that'll be the number for Shedeur in terms of like chip on his shoulder, just like 199 was for Brady. 144 was going to be his number.
Right.
But
how about that? Brady being his guy and passing on him, I think, what, 8 times?
8 times, was it?
I mean, again, when we look back on this, and we say Brady is his guy. Was Brady ever his guy? I mean, I don't know. I mean, all this stuff
not enough of his guy to take a quarterback he didn't grade.
Right.
I'm sorry, I jumped you there.
No, I'm just. no one else wanted to talk about it. That was the shocking thing to me. And I get like networks have coverage. There's pro days, there's Colorado showcases, there's Colorado games, there's commercials, there's all these things. Mm-hmm. But I'm not the information guy, right? I talk to people, I get information. I purposely, when I have information, I don't even bring it up because I stay in my lane.
But shouldn't you have better information then? No. If you're not like they're not threatened by you being a reporter.
Maybe just relationships, friends. But two friends of mine in the league who were in those rooms, which means they're part of the decision-making group for interviews at the combine. And I'm having lunch with one guy, and then I talk to another guy after, and they're both like, I didn't ask them anything about Shedeur. Mm-hmm. They weren't even sitting there bashing him. It was just like, yeah, and it was like the 10th guy maybe we talked about. It was like, yeah, Shedeur didn't really care what we thought of him. Like, it was weird. Oh. It was so different than all. So
I love when people come out after like, how dare you?
Well, no.
How dare you?
But that's why eventually, because I'm looking to see if all the information people and who's is it, because I'm not the only one getting this information. I was shocked by that. So I came out after the combine and I was like, listen, I don't know. It's already a shrunken pool of places to go because of the starters that are in the league, because of the scheme, because of his traits. It's already a shrunken pool. And you get 6 teams drafting in the top 10, and these were 2 teams in the top 10 that needed quarterbacks at the time. And so now you've just done that to it. So, and then there's reports of how things went with Brian Daboll and the Giants. So, like, now you're, like, so it got to a point where, and so my whole point in this is, the evaluation for almost across the board in the league, the highest one was, maybe there were some people in the Giants building reportedly who wanted to take him at 3. So it's 3. The most of the league was like middle, late first. And some people who didn't like him were like, second round.
So it sounds like he was just losing a million ties. And then the more it kept going, like if this happens in other drafts and it's a lower profile player, you're starting to go, okay, does this guy have a knee thing that we don't know about? And then
it's not that.
Yeah, I was trying to think position. A position player may have fell, but think about the quarterbacks that have fallen, like the big falls. Brady Quinn, Aaron Rodgers, would they go in the 20s?
Yes.
So they went from top.
And Rodgers
top
fell
3 or
too.
5.
I mean,
but they were in the 20s.
It's with the first round. We knew if New Orleans didn't take him at 9, then it was like he's in trouble if somebody doesn't trade back in.
But it did feel
we're
like
still framing it, and like that was the thing with Rodgers that drove me crazy during that draft. It's like, okay, we don't have to go to him after every single team that doesn't need a quarterback.
So brutal, yeah.
Like, he wasn't going there again. Unless there's a trade, he wasn't going there. But again, it's a TV show, so it sort of plays out that way. I don't know what the lesson with this will be because I guess I would say I've seen a lot of really good arguments, and I'll use 2 different things, Breer and then Jeff Darlington at ESPN, where Breer was like, look, with backups, there comes a point where you go, I need you to be this way to accept being a backup. And there's nothing about Shedeur. Our assumption would be like, I don't really know that he's going to be that guy if you look at the way that they handle the pre-draft process. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Deion must have almost zero juice when it comes to information in the NFL.
Zero.
They did this on their own. You can criticize it, I think, fairly now and go, how could you not have any contact with anybody that mattered? Yeah. Maybe this is where an agent actually helps you. Maybe an agent actually gets you drafted a little bit higher with this stuff. It's like you're just sitting there throwing a party and decking out your home and you have no intel whatsoever that this is potentially on the table.
We were doing a show and I said the winds are shifting, aren't they? Because remember like October, November? We didn't have to speculate. I thought we would have to speculate that Deion was gonna like do backdoors Eli Manning.
Well, he just started saying it.
He came out on shows. Yeah, he's out on shows like saying there's some certain organizations that can't draft my son. Then all of a sudden, I think it was after the combine, and some people were starting to realize like things didn't go well there, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we're happy with it. I've approved all the teams in the top 10.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Good to know.
And I remember I came on our show and I was like, boy, the winds have shifted a little, huh?
Yeah.
So and I think he started to realize, sometimes you get the hammer and you get to drop it, and sometimes you just don't have the hammer. And I think he realized that they were more the nail in the situation.
Yeah, and we didn't even have to speculate on it. Like you just said, they shared enough throughout the process to be like, you guys think you're in control of this thing. And time and time again, it's like the evaluation does not allow you to do this. And
No.
you know, we can talk about the backup part of it is who do you want? You want somebody. Look, the NFL locker room does not want free thinkers, okay? And if you're not a stud, you're not allowed to like necessarily be one of those guys. Like I imagine, you know, Cam Newton's even talked about like I mean, he said it. And I don't know the word for word quote, but it was pretty amazing. He's like, my aura is like at max, so therefore no one even wants to bring me into a locker room.
And he wasn't wrong.
The Tebow stop in Philadelphia was littered with just bullshit where you're like, dude, you might not make the team, okay?
Right.
Like, I
would
know
be a
you
tight
were
end.
really famous, but this is kind of a pain in the ass. And so I could see for some teams that being the assumption, but then again, that was kind of the Burr point. The Darling point was like, all right, I mean, talent is talent, and whatever the grade is. And we've seen plenty of teams when they even have a quarterback in place. I mean, that was always the Belichick thing. He takes Kevin O'Connell early when Brady's like 31.
Yeah.
And you're going, what are you doing? They take Garoppolo where they take Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And again, Belichick was always somebody that was trying to go against conventional wisdom. But it feels like Shedeur paid a very clear price for the way they handled it, the misevaluation of where they were at, the pre-draft stuff. We've yet to hear like a good story from all of it. Whatever that price is, a 5th round pick today feels like an excessive price to pay.
Yes, I totally agree.
I wanted to bring it
Punishment
back.
doesn't fit the crowd.
I think there are two things that are important to note, and I think it's a good lesson to any quarterback who's ever going to go through this process. And honest to goodness, like it's a good lesson in life. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
And I'm not here like this is the McShay Show isn't a life lesson place usually.
A little bit.
Occasionally.
Read some emails.
Dylan Gabriel attacked it and was awesome. Like everyone I talked to, A+ interviews. Don't know if he's big enough. Don't know this, that, and the other. But like just an awesome and would be great in the quarterback room. And I think like I watched some of these shows and the coverage, and the thing that's missing, no one's talking about. If he ain't gonna be a starter, if you're not looking at him and saying that he's absolutely a starter, and that guy gets drafted in the top 10, if he's not gonna be a starter, his most valuable role in this organization is to be productive and helpful in the QB room, period. Taking notes, doing research assignments.
Yeah, this feels like the Chase
tapes on
Daniel
trends.
thing, where it's like, I know who I am and who I'm not, but if I just do this right, I can probably stick around for
And
long.
Dylan
Right.
sold himself. Dylan sold himself in job interviews as that guy. Shedeur obviously wasn't going in with the mindset of I want to be a backup, and he shouldn't have. But a lot of people left the room being like, okay, if we don't view him as a starter, a
If this doesn't
definitive
go well,
starter,
sure, yeah.
then what his role is going to be as backup? Is he going to handle that? How is he going to handle that? And is it going to come with a lot of attention and a lot of like, GM's got enough on their plate. You've talked to coaches. A coach has got enough on their plate. They don't want to have to be dealing with the backup quarterback's stuff.
Yeah,
And so
look,
that's what led to all this.
Yeah.
But then the positive is, at the end of the day, the human being has been humbled. This has been a shocking experience for him. But at the end of the day, he's in the National Football League.
Yeah.
He's a Cleveland Brown. Yes, he may be 4th on the depth chart. Yes, he got drafted after Dylan Gabriel. I promise you this. He'll get every opportunity to beat out Gabriel.
Right.
And I can also promise you this. If he goes in with the right attitude and it takes the chip on his shoulder, pick 144, and attacks this process, he's going to beat out Dylan Gabriel because he's just better.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect system for him. Whether he's ever the starter in Cleveland or not, who knows? But it's a perfect system to showcase in training camp this year. If he gets a shot to play, and an opportunity arises somewhere else, they will get the best out of Shedeur.
And if they struggle with the O-line like they had injuries last year, Shedeur's your guy.
Because he knows what to do.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
I'll make a clumsy attempt here to tie this to the NBA, and you'll know better than me about this. But I read, maybe you said it, or I heard it from someone. Guys go down to the G League, and they try to figure out how to score 40 points a game. And what they should be doing when they go down there, and I think this ties in a little bit, is what role does their team need? Like, is it a defender? What do they need to do for their team? That's how you make the NBA team. And now Shedeur is in the sense of he thinks he's a guy that's going to come in and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game. And they need a guy who's going to come in and help their starter get ready and maybe develop. And if you don't know what your role is, and teams are set up that way, know your role, then maybe they're not as excited about bringing them in.
Yeah, I also worry. It's kind of like the Jackson Dart conversation where all of those things may work out. I'm with you, Todd. I think Dable's rep among football people is pretty solid, and I feel like that's probably underselling it a bit. I mean, if Saban's bringing you in and then raving about you after you're gone, then that's probably a pretty good sign. But man, like Jameis thinks he should be a starter somewhere. Wilson thinks there should be a statue of him somewhere. And
he's your favorite.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go get a guy.
See you, Muench.
Yep, first one.
What just happened?
The Alabama tight end. Went ahead of Dupree, by the way.
I feel like I'm not prepped on what's now happening.
Oots.
Yep.
You didn't write up Oots.
Nope.
Robbie Oots.
He's in there, but not written up.
They didn't use him a lot.
He's a big tight end, great blocker.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a personal brand thing, like his own clothing line or something with Sanders that turned people off.
Huh?
Just speculating. I think we nailed it.
I think we did too.
Let's whatever you want to do, man. I'm excited.
I want to go to some other teams that have picked well and that were intriguing to me. Let's actually stay there with Cleveland.
Tez Johnson's still available.
Yeah, that's your guy. You love the Ducks. Cleveland, while we're on the subject, moving back, get a first-round pick next. What's interesting about both quarterbacks, forget the Shedeur
What, a second changed positions in the fourth and a first next year to move back two?
Yep. A first next year signaled to me, there's Garrett Nussmeier, there's Eleanor Sellers, South Carolina. I like Sellers.
You think Sellers is a pro already?
I think he's getting there. I think he's escalating.
I think the best version of him is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
he's such a freak too.
Well, let's give him another year starting.
I can't wait. Hey, look,
I mean,
South
Cam
Carolina,
Ward was
South
a fifth
Carolina
round
gets
pick.
a TV every week at this house.
Cam Ward was a fifth-round pick coming in this year, number 1 overall. Like I think he's on that trajectory.
That's the NFL NBA thing that always blows my mind.
Tell me.
There would just be never there's no scenario where a guy would be he's the 70th best NBA prospect, so outside of the only 2 rounds, and then next year he's a first overall pick. Like your variance on what quarterbacks can or can't be year to year and it speaks to again
Jaden Daniels too. Right. So it's not like it's a failed system.
You guys, it's almost like officiating. Okay, people get mad about officiating in all sports. I accept that officiating will forever be flawed.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to live longer because of it. I'm not going to get mad.
You look like it.
Right. There's philosophical things about officiating that I don't necessarily love.
Yep.
But sometimes in life you just have to accept that things are incredibly flawed. In evaluating the quarterback, I don't believe that there's this magic island of great evaluators that haven't been, allowed to speak their mind, because everybody thinks you guys are morons, and that every time you get this wrong. But I would say the football part of it that is always shocking to me is that you can have like a Matt Barkley be a top 10 pick or the number 1 overall pick, and then 1 season later he's a 4th-round pick. And so, Cam Ward is just another example of this. Joe Burrow is an example of it. Jaden Daniels is an example of it. Joe Burrow and Jaden, what's really funny about those dudes is their first years at LSU, you're like, okay, maybe. Like, at least they have a guy. And then they end up being the number 1 overall. Well, of course, Jaden's case, the number 2 pick.
A lot of people apparently want to talk about your shorts. And I feel like it's a subject that needs to be addressed. I think you look great. It was a leg day yesterday. I mean, you look great. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk back to the people.
They started riding up a bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
So,
all right.
I don't know what to tell you. It's funny how many people that comment on how I look.
At least you're wearing socks today, right?
They've never sat down.
Yeah, right?
Right. So, just shout out to you guys for being on your feet all the time. But yeah, no, my shorts are always look, man.
When you get quads like that, man.
What am I supposed to do?
The shorts have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Nowhere to go but up.
I'm at my house, by the way, too.
And by the way, we invaded it. My man went to fish last night. He's got 4 NBA playoff games tonight. He's been kind enough. We can't turn the camera
I was
around.
turning down ketamine all night because I knew how long of a day this was going to be.
Well, and for that, we appreciate you, my man.
Tweezer without ketamine, you know how hard that is?
They played Tweezer last night?
Yeah, reprise.
Muench hasn't been interested in anything that's come out of this for 5 rounds.
When I was walking up to the Hollywood
I
Bowl,
might go tomorrow night.
He's going to Hollywood Bowl to see Fish tomorrow night.
Are you really? All right.
I'm thinking about going, yeah.
I love that you're doing that. It's the best venue. It's so great. And my favorite part of the night, there's many highs, pun. Somebody walks by and is like, Russillo, are we going to get that Piper tonight? And Piper we did get. so I was happy about it. Do you like jam bands, Todd?
Not my thing. My good friend Meredith Katz has been working on me my whole life. She's going tonight, so I've been around it. I don't mind some.
Yeah, I mean,
I love all music.
You were in Virginia. I would have thought you'd have some access to it.
Yeah.
Let me get back to the draft. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
The shorts just derailed it.
Sorry, I don't even remember what we were talking about. But
Let me give you something that I want to talk about.
All right, let's roll.
I knew, each year it's like, hey, the 15th pick is really this, or like the 5th pick is like the 15th pick. I love that kind of stuff, right? It was all sort of arbitrary, and some years you think these terrible drafts end up being really good. But I loved this second round. Like, I'm watching the first round here the other night, and then I'm looking at the best available stuff, and I'm like, I mean, whether it's Eamon Worry, our dude, Nick from South Carolina,
Yep.
Luther Burden, who I do think is a guy that can at least stretch the field.
Debo Samuel comps, yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little smaller. I love Alfred Collins. I felt like he was always showing up. As a Raku, Ferguson, the tight end stuff here, you go Mason Taylor, Ferguson. I was even wondering, as a Bears fan, should the Bears have gone Jalen Walker and then gone, we're going to get one of these other tight ends. We're going to have our pick of Ferguson, who, by the way, is kind of a freak athletically. Taylor at LSU, I'm biased in that I felt like they sort of got away from him over the course of his career there. I think he should have been
and drag routes and flat routes and that's kind of.
And he's like kind of a motherfucker too, like when they needed something.
Yep.
And
clutch moments always showed up.
Granted, they've been stacked at receiver, so the balance wasn't going to be there for him at tight end. Sell me on Loveland and then doing something different as opposed to, I like Jalen Walker better than Mikael Williams. I could be entirely wrong about it. I know it's a size thing. Watching Georgia games, I felt like Walker there was just a little bit more that I liked. Did the Bears make a mistake not going Walker and then one of the second-round tight ends?
I don't think they made a mistake.
So Loveland really is that, huh?
I've thought it's pretty neck and neck between Warren and Loveland, and honestly, it took me going back and really studying the tape because the quarterback play was atrocious this year.
Yeah.
But watching him actually separate, it didn't matter where the ball went or how.
There's just a little more juice to him than Tyler, huh?
And then I think about
on the route stuff.
You think about Ben Johnson and what he had in Detroit, and now you start talking about weapons and
How does Loveland compare to Laporta?
Pretty fairly. I think that's actually the comp I gave him in my evaluations. A little bit leaner.
Loveland's huge too.
Loveland's 6'5" and change.
But he's not crazy fast. I think Taylor ended up running a 4.65 and Loveland was a 4.7. I actually know that's true because I looked it up today.
I'm glad you did. But you think about how he can be used in Ben Johnson's offense, and then they bring in Luther Burden, who's screen game, reverses, different. He can develop into a good route runner, intermediates and all that.
So that's the knock on Burden now? Because when Burden got loose, it felt like, I just like when I'm watching, going, okay, that guy looks a little different. And Luther's had a lot of those moments in Missouri.
100%.
Right.
And so now you're looking at, they're not, Jameson Williams did more of a vertical down the field route runner, but you're talking about speed on the edge. And that's what Ben Johnson had. They bring in 3 offensive linemen in Chicago, veteran guys to protect the middle. Now you bring in Luther Burden. Now you bring in Ozzie Trapillo, who can now compete with those offensive tackles, the right tackle, or kick him inside to guard, create a youth movement behind the older guys you brought in. Shamar Turner's a really good 3 technique they got in the, what pick was it?
God, I thought I even wrote him down.
I think he's the 3rd. So, but I just like what they did. I look at that Detroit offense and the creativity that Ben Johnson has, right? Mm-hmm. But in order to utilize it, the guys in the lab always need space players. They always need guys who are
so the argument for Loveland is that he's better in space than Warren is.
I don't know necessarily after the catch as much as he is just separating, getting open. And I've got a quarterback who's young who needs security blankets, but he's got juice to him. And yes, he is good after the catch. Warren's different good after the catch. Warren's Gronk after the catch. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's the closest thing to Gronk that I think's come out in the NFL draft, since. But I understand why they pass because Ben Johnson wants speed. They want guys who can separate. They want guys that can create and like just more to their game. You know.
I'm going to ask you about a couple fourth-round picks.
Okay.
So when Pittsburgh was on the clock with the 21st pick in the fourth round, you're like, okay, maybe they do it here. Because I think if there's one thing that we all trust with Tomlin is whatever the distractions are. Like I used to be at times on the fence about Tomlin, and then once I learned more about all the bullshit that he was dealing with all the personalities of that team, I was like, this guy might just be coach of the year every single year.
He's amazing.
This is ridiculous.
He's amazing.
So you would have thought like he's better equipped to deal with whatever other teams were concerned about bringing Sanders into the locker room.
Perfectly equipped to.
Yeah. So then he takes Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
Who all I would need to see from Jack Sawyer's tape was him getting super mad about the Michigan flag. I personally think that,
Captain Jack.
Yeah, when people turn it into, well, you just got your ass kicked. So what are you supposed to do? Let you burn down my house because we lost?
Right.
Like, and granted, that was a horrible loss, embarrassing loss. He was great in the game. He was incredible on that play against Texas to clinch that playoff game. So Sawyer, how does somebody like him go? Are we just talking measurables? We're talking lack of sideline to sideline stuff with him lasting that long?
Yeah, it's part measurables. It's part. I don't know that his traits in terms of like suddenness as a pass rusher and those sorts of things. And honestly, God, like, have you looked at this edge class?
It's so, I mean, I can't believe how many guys I've liked, and it keeps going. Like another dude who went a couple picks later, our guy from South Carolina, another Gamecock, Kyle Conor. Arm length, the whole deal. How's he going the fourth round?
But because we had Abdul Carter, Michael Williams, what's up, Mensch?
How about Abdul Carter asking LT for 56? Like, hey, dude, can you pay property taxes in New York first before you start asking for the fucking number?
That caught me off guard, too.
That was like...
Warren Moon gave one to Cam Ward. You see that?
These dudes need to stop asking this.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it at
Like,
all.
what's the whole fucking point?
and-
Like, we're retiring this stuff.
Right.
I was always of the mind, like, make your own number.
Segment idea. Did Shedeur Sanders having his number retired this quickly devalue the retiring of numbers, therefore this generation asked to unretire them? Tuesday's pod?
Did Travis Hunter get his number
I have
retired a
a
little early too?
segment idea.
Sidebar.
Table this. Pre-show
How
meeting.
often do you walk around
Right.
as a bachelor in this beautiful pad and just something comes up and you're like, segment idea?
Constantly.
Yeah, do you
I'm
just like
whiteboarding
speak into
all
your
the time.
phone or?
Yeah, no.
I think that could be a show just called Segment Ideas.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a great show. I don't know they would pick it up. When Part of My Take came to visit and tape a show, I purposely put up an entire whiteboard of a plot of like the worst movie ever. And I just was sitting there, and I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever done. Like 30 minutes.
You just left it up? You didn't know?
No, it wasn't a real movie that I was writing, but I was like, what would the notes be for the dumbest fucking idea for a movie you could ever make? And then I had like the lines through it, and I was like, and then he time travels, then realizes that he is the father.
What was
of
their
his
response?
own. They didn't.
She was
even
dead the whole
those
time.
guys, right? Even those guys, because like I think PFT was like, I looked at a few things and it was so bad I didn't know what to say, but it didn't really land because I thought they were going to make fun of it because a lot of their humor can be a little sophomoric.
Yeah.
No.
They're watching. They promised they were going to watch actually today. I talked to them the other day.
That's okay. Big Cat
They
doesn't
won't
make
be.
fun of anybody. So
No,
we'll be all
exactly.
right. Ooh, the Dolphins.
What about them?
Fafita? Probably not.
This is why Everyday 3 should be here. Just listen to these takes and your reactions. Yeah, Bears
So
was on
Kennard, Kennard me. I think I derailed it.
That's
Yeah.
right. I wanted
That
Abdul
arm line.
Carter, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, James Pierce, all first round.
Right.
Second round, Ezra Raku, who had 1.38 sacks per game, led the FBS last year. Tui Molalau, Nick Scorton,
Scorton, dude.
Femi Oladejo.
Scorton's on my list.
These are all
Shows
second
up
round.
on tape.
And
Am I
Mike-
wrong,
D-
Matt?
He does show up on tape.
Thank you.
and
Very
Mike
productive.
Green. And Mike Green.
Was productive
Yeah.
at Purdue too.
Right.
Then
Mike Green, 3-star wide receiver. Crazy upside. Obviously some off the field stuff too.
Was he a 3-star wide receiver coming out of high school?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's why I come here.
This isn't even my main sport.
Ashton
Really
Galati,
peacocking now.
Landon Jackson, Princely Uman Mielin, Jordan Birch, Josiah Stewart.
Jordan Birch, I'd say, I'd like the motor to be engaged a little bit more with
I
him.
love Jordan Birch.
It's not my guy. I'm
He
on
doesn't
this
like
side
him
of the
either.
coach.
I like the high end of it, but I thought
I
there's
like
a few
him, man.
times where I'm like, is he out today?
But in the third round to Arizona, like
Is that plugged in?
my point is everyone's getting value at these edge.
This was the year.
Kyle Kennard, you just said fourth round,
That seems insane.
going to the
me.
Chargers.
It's the depth.
Oh, my guy went. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
First pick of the
telling
fifth,
you,
right?
Do you ever, when you watch an NBA,
Was he like fourth?
NBA prospects, do you ever watch NBA prospects and you're like, wait, this guy's more talented than everyone, but he doesn't know what he's doing at all?
Yeah, that's like that Tampa Bay Bucks edge guy, Smith, number 9, who I keep holding out hope for.
Really?
Yeah. Am I wrong on that?
Who?
I don't know. I'm out of season, so I'm gonna mispronounce his name right now.
Is it Shonka? No.
Oh, from Washington?
All right, I'll look it up here. I mean, this is super embarrassing because I should know, but again, it's almost May, so.
Ingram Dawkins, though.
No, this is so stupid that I don't have this off the top of my head because he actually does play. Or he's not on the team anymore.
No, he's
Is
gone.
it Shonka Chon or whatever?
Yeah, Smith.
Yeah. I like him too. I like him.
I
He
actually-
came out of Washington.
Yeah, I
right?
like him. Tough, strong.
So your guy went.
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins to the Vikings. I'm telling you, if they can coach him up and get the most out of him.
How many snaps did he have with Georgia behind all those other guys? You get a snap count?
Everyone
Well, no,
eats.
he was-
Everyone eats.
He was playing. He was
Okay.
playing, and he was tossing guys around. And he
This
was
is like
chasing-
the Matt Castle pick. Like the only reason he's not going higher is he didn't get to. I don't know, because all the other dudes. So you're telling me this is the guy?
6'5", 276. Well, look what Muench said.
Another tyrant.
Hybrid, defensive end,
It's all on
3-man
ESPN.com.
front, defensive tackle, 4-man front.
Mensch just did
Edge
this?
setter, yeah.
Oh no.
I did that earlier.
God, you're doing a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
that's why he keeps racing over to that table.
I thought he had a sandwich.
Try not to take that personally.
Okay, but look, let's stay at the edge guys. We've got Braden Swinson, LSU, going this late too.
I
that's
had-
late.
I had like
late.
a third on him.
He's good. He and Whit
Yes.
Weeks are the best defensive
1
players.
year
I
of
guess he didn't
production,
run,
but
so
he
he
was
doesn't get the-
awesome. He was
Right,
awesome.
but he transferred around. I know he's 23 in July, but now what's the story? We don't have a 40 time on that guy. What is it?
I don't think he ever ran. I know he
No, he
didn't
didn't run.
Yeah, I
No
didn't.
pro day,
That's
no
usually a good
40.
sign.
I mean, no combine.
More
that's
players.
Best running back in the SEC just got drafted. You got to know who I'm talking
Dylan
about.
Sampson.
Nope.
No, he already went.
From Ole Miss.
Judkins transfer.
JJ Bekees.
Judkins went.
JJ McGee's.
I watched his family
My
shoot
guy.
hoops in their driveway, and I was like, I'm all in. His whole family
It's so
was just,
awesome.
they were like in the middle of nowhere
Where?
playing pickup. It was his like dad's house
But where'd you watch this?
online.
On coverage?
Yeah.
Where do you watch
No,
that?
I was doing that.
Online.
That was just a day off. That wasn't even prep.
Gosh.
Yeah. So Tryon Shoyinka is now on Cleveland, and I don't know why I was calling him Smith. Yeah,
I knew who it was, too, though.
Yeah,
He
he's
is.
25.
frustrating.
We're still holding out hope. 5 years in, 4 years in. This will be his fifth
I
year.
felt like his rookie year was his best year.
You would be accurate. At
Yeah?
least, well, I don't know. I just fell for the sack number, and that's not the way to do the job.
Cam Moore gonna be the guy?
I defer to you guys, so I'd rather watch you
I
two
didn't know
guys
if you.
battle it out.
I
we get caught up in this where he would be last year, right? But I think that's a mistake.
And he's what, behind 4?
Fine.
3. He's not behind McCarthy, I don't think. McCarthy was
Penix?
my 4th. Penix was my 5th, and then Nix was my 6th. So I would have had him ahead of McCarthy. But a lot of years he would have been 1. You know what I mean? Like last year was just different. Those 3 were insane.
I don't know how, because I hear some people sometimes in and out of the NFL, actually, included, be like, I just don't, like, that's an awfully big jump. How could he, like, he's a 5th rounder. And then I'm like, yeah, but like Jaden Daniels is doing all right. Jaden Daniels has a 5th round grade in 2022. Came back in 2023.
What was Baker? I mean, Baker was, I know that everyone talks about the late jump, but going into that year, he wasn't.
There's been a lot of guys, and it speaks, and that goes back to your conversation before. In the NBA, it's like there's a lot of one-on-ones. It's an individual,
There's never a guy that's projected to be the number 1 pick that's like completely off the radar.
Right, I understand it, but
Right.
but
Oh, I know
you're
what you're saying.
reliant on 10 other human beings in that, and then the system and the scheme and all that stuff. That's why it's also the hardest position, maybe in sports, but definitely in football, to evaluate. And that's part of the reason.
It's easily the hardest thing in sports. What is even close to being as hard as that?
Baseball, no. Hitting? All the analytics with that, I guess.
Yeah, but I think baseball, it's this one-on-one controlled environment. I mean, you can be unlucky with something that happens defensively, but you're not going to be unlucky for 162
Right.
games.
Yeah.
Or guys
It all
are catching
evens
your
out.
line drives.
Yeah.
So,
true.
my personal thing is always like if we evaluated basketball players the way we evaluate quarterbacks sometimes, we would think that like Stromae Swift would be one of the greatest players of all time as we stay on this LSU theme. As New England turns into Baton Rouge North.
I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
Kyle McCord.
No, Stroman Swift.
No.
Stromae Swift. He played for LSU.
No
he was a top 5 pick, and his highlights were like.
Right now, my kid's like.
If I'm
"Cool,
upset,
dude."
having a bad day, I'll watch his dunks.
Is that
And
good?
I'm
Really?
right back, right? Okay, but he just wasn't good at kind of the basketball part, right? Which is a huge problem. That ends up being a huge
Well, it's
problem.
kind of like my guy Tyrion right now. I'm hoping the best.
Right.
See how you did that?
That was good.
professional.
That was very good. So, what I would say with quarterbacks is like, how many times have we watched a fucking pro day where he throws against nobody and the receiver runs underneath the post?
Well, the pro days.
I'm going to try to keep.
Yeah,
my,
but
I'm gonna try
guys-
to keep my composure.
Right. So,
The Johnny Manziel pro day.
2 balls hit the ground. Well, okay. Like, I think I can't even throw a football anymore. I don't even know, like, if I had to throw to one other person, I would hope not that many balls hit the ground. So the
Right.
pro day thing is stupid. The arm speed thing is stupid. The look at his mechanics inside the pocket when most of the throws are off schedule. So we're evaluating the perfect climate, the perfect situation of like these throws. It's like, yeah, except you don't get to do any of those things. So we're asking your guy to
But
process
they do chase him
three
around with a little stick and make him move around a little bit.
I just think the things that we still in 2025 are emphasizing as important attributes have nothing to do with whether or not the guy's going to be successful on 3rd and 7 and being like, oh shit, I screwed the protection and now I got to be in my 3rd read.
Yeah.
And can you still be accurate in chaos?
Right.
Can you be accurate? Like, we have not figured out what translates or what has to happen unless a guy is completely off the charts or somebody we think is absolutely terrible. And so arm strength, accuracy, like, you know, not to
Yeah.
bring it back to Sanders, but you are the ultimate fraud in telling on yourself when you start throwing Shedeur Sanders' accuracy around because of his completion percentage when all these throws were at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Completion percentage used to be one of my go-tos. Like, man, 61% in this system, like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. And
I've had
now
to
it's
adjust too. Like, what's your average depth of target and all this stuff?
dude, if you're not at like 75, and then even then I'm like, what are you guys doing? Throwing bubble screens the whole fucking
Yeah.
game? So I'm tabling it to you guys to get back to, like, do you think we'll actually be at a point where someone will go, I don't care what his arm strength is, I don't care what his pro day looked like, I don't care. Maybe you guys are already doing it, but it doesn't seem to be the thing that plays.
The pro day is
drives me nuts.
the,
guys like
the
Jordan Palmer out there.
quarterbacks at pro day is built for television. I was like
Give me a bad pro day. Is there one?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys both said it at the same time.
I was there watching him like
And I
struggle,
love Teddy. Love Teddy coming out. He was
Yeah, and
so
honestly,
tough.
Teddy, like,
putting on a glove, taking off a glove.
he was like good. For,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
up until he was hurt.
It was Bortles, Manziel,
was all
and
right,
Teddy
yeah,
that
whatever.
year.
Sure.
And none of them turned out to be great, but Teddy was the best of the 3 by far.
Yeah. Was that Manziel that year too?
I'm pretty sure that was the
Did you guys do Manziel's pro day?
Oh yeah, with the former president or President Bush.
And the shoulder pads and
I
the
think once
and
you're
his
president,
wife?
you're always, yeah.
Yeah, once you're president, you're always. It's like Heisman. I got spoken to at ESPN.
Did you really?
I said former Heisman Trophy winner, and I was like, oh, hey, once a Heisman, always a Heisman.
That's a good lesson for all of us.
Manziel's was the wildest of all time. It wasn't the best, but it was the wildest. I will never go to. You can't ever have a president, not sitting, but a president of the United States, and I think you can say former first lady.
Hey, I got to tell you, this TV broadcast right now of Shedeur, like, celebrating, jumping into the pool and stuff after he got drafted,
I love that.
does this change the narrative?
with the Bible verse across the pool.
Well, I would say, like, I wouldn't be doing that if I thought I was going in the first round. Like, hey, let's
No, I'm
broadcast
saying
this.
It
you're-
humanizes him. Like
that he's pumped?
the relief, the knowing where he's going.
No one. I think we lose. Like
We're all saying the same
we don't
thing.
have a.
That's cool.
You think so?
I think it's cool.
He
that
does
he's-
it.
I know.
Oh, wow.
I think it's all image.
2-1.
Like you can't push me down, man.
So you think it's fake?
For them, it's all image. This is part of the deal. Like, think of all these young influencers, man. It's all spin.
How could you not?
Maybe I'm just a cynic. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
I'd
I'd rather Tom Brady going down to the and again, this is a little cheesy story too, but he's going down to the Little League park and he's hitting balls with his dad because he can't believe he hasn't been drafted yet, and he's so pissed off that he's going to prove everyone wrong. I always say this too. I have this theory about guys that I've never really backed up, so it's not really great.
I don't tell a great
but
dad
here's the
on it,
thing:
maybe.
when guys say I'm so excited I got drafted, I'm going out with my boys, I'm celebrating, and then there's other guys who are like, I can't wait to get there, I can't wait to get to work. Right? He's celebrating. He's not like, you know what? It's been a tough day. I can't wait to get to Cleveland and start ripping heads off.
We saw him for 12 seconds, Muench.
I know, but that was my reaction to that.
So you would rather
were like,
the guys?
That's cool.
I think he's had a rough couple days.
I agree.
You can hate him. You
agree.
can hate the whole Colorado thing, and look, a lot of that was brought on themselves. You go
agree.
4-8 and you're on 60 minutes. Nobody's going to like that.
I'm
all right?
glad it's over.
Right.
But he went way later than he ever
I
should have.
thought your initial reaction was asinine, and I thought it was kind of
Don't hold
flippant. I did.
Uh-oh.
However,
I'm glad I'm here to break this up.
I think because my initial reaction was in line with you. Guy's been through. I mean, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, maybe I fell for it, but I'm like, the fact that he could do that, I'd be
Don't let me
so
change your
mad.
mind.
I
wouldn't wanna
think
be on
both can
camera.
be true because that should be his reaction. Something of joy, excitement, relief. This has been a horrible experience.
Yes.
This could not
You
have
think
gone
the content's
anywhere.
just too good to not post.
But
I think they do.
but here's the part.
Yeah, right.
Here's the part I agree with you because it did for me for a second. I was like,
Devin Neal.
My guy.
and you're gonna
Love that
listen,
guy.
and you're gonna listen. The part I agree with you on
After these Devin Neal
is
highlights.
is
Against Colorado.
why do we have to take a video of it, and why do we have to send it to the networks?
Oh, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
First of all, they didn't send it to the networks. It was on his TikTok. They pick it up immediately
Their
because it's more
cameras.
content, so that's fine.
does
That
it
was
all have
all
to be
shot.
filmed?
That was all shot on a phone. And by the way, look, I can't believe I'm the guy having to say this in the room.
I like
but,
to put you in the corner here. Like, yeah.
are you not aware of how dudes operate now at that age?
That's what I mean.
So, of course, this is going to be posted. Of
Maybe
course
I'm
I'll-
the old guy yelling at the clouds.
I saw a
whatever
kid
they
who had a
say.
miserable couple days. Everybody's shitting on him left and right, and I don't even
That's
necessarily.
my gut.
I don't love
That's
all
my
of the
gut.
Colorado stuff
It's
at all.
absolutely my
all right?
gut.
I actually, you know what's been interesting?
I'm happy for him too.
There's a lot
honestly.
of. I think he hasn't been shit on by everyone. I think there's been a lot of people that have gotten his back, and rightfully so. I think it's good.
Yeah,
a
but
lot
I-
of people went online and were like,
Some of
"Dude,
the
this
arguments are stupid.
this
like,
is ridiculous.
If it was the NFL colluding, then wouldn't some team that thought he sucks and is a terrible person and be like, I hope someone in our division takes him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just
Talk to
blow
me
your
about
minds.
Devin Neal. What have you seen in him?
Love his toughness, change of direction, a little undersized, but I think Kansas used him in space really well.
His numbers are almost exactly Kareem Hunt's numbers. He reminded me of Kareem Hunt so much.
I like the Kareem Hunt.
He's
comp.
just Kareem Hunt to me.
I like him a lot, but
Helps you out
I
in the
don't like
passing
him as
game,
much
too.
as you do.
What about
Like,
Danny Stutzman? That guy could change. You want to talk about culture tone setters?
You know what I worry about though? A lot of missed tackles. A lot. He's
Yeah,
everywhere.
but how
he's
hard,
everywhere.
But when he makes them, the celebration intensity.
and he made 400 of them. New Orleans had a
Yeah, the numbers don't.
Hold on, what did New Orleans do? I want to look
Quincy
at this
Riley
draft.
in,
Quincy
on day
Riley.
3?
Quincy Riley, I had as a third round.
Why is Jalen Reed still available?
I know you don't care about
His
breaking
tape
down.
wasn't
New
as good
Orleans.
as I wanted it to be, man.
Can we talk about the best
I
quarterback
could be
potentially
falling-
in this draft?
There's certain uniforms where I fall for guys
Yeah.
at certain positions.
I've lost complete control of the show.
What do you want to do?
I want to talk about the quarterback that may wind up actually being the best quarterback in this draft. And I said that coming into the process, and now that I know where he's landed, I'm starting to feel like that could be the case. When we look back 3 years from now, I said I won't be shocked. I'm not predicting it, but I am saying there's a chance Tyler Shuck is the best quarterback from this draft when we look back in 3 years. Listen, I believe in Cam Ward. I've said nothing but positive things. I can't remember the last time I said anything negative about Cam Ward.
Probably
Except
the
when
Florida game when he threw it back across the middle of the field.
I've made some comments that are constructive about his game and what needs to improve, but like
That has to stop.
I got nothing but love for Cam Ward.
Some of those.
Yeah. They're like, I'm going out of bounds now. Let's see if anybody catches this.
But Tyler Shuck could I'm just going to keep ignoring both of you and just keep
Yeah, but
plowing
those
this
asides,
train.
I'm good. Will Howard to the Steelers.
Yes! I do love Will Howard to the Steelers. Tyler Shuck may wind up being the best quarterback in this draft. Thoughts?
I haven't watched him enough at the last stop. I didn't watch him a lot this year.
Louisville?
Yeah.
You missed all of it.
So I missed everything that mattered.
Well, you read the first 20 pages of death, destruction, famine, and then you missed the last 200 pages of like redemption, perseverance, happy ending, all that.
He was a good dude.
Yeah,
Great
I'm not going to sit here and pretend and lie to you guys. I didn't feel comfortable as the pre-draft process went through. I didn't have the huddle going. So,
Okay.
All right, sell me on him. If you say he can spin it first, I'm out.
But
The whole show's over.
But man, can he spin it?
I think this guy. I think a major part of the problem when quarterbacks don't make it or aren't ready for the moment in the NFL, they don't know who they are yet. They aren't mature enough. They haven't a lot of these guys are getting paid young. A lot of these guys are 7-on-7, the elite 11s. They've been groomed since they were like 12 years old. They have not faced real adversity in life. He was carted off the field once after one of 3 season-ending injuries and thought football was taken away from him. He was in the recruiting class and highly, highly recruited. Had the choice between a bunch of different places. Chose Oregon. Oregon's on the rise. He's the backup to Herbert.
Right.
Okay, 7 years ago.
Yeah, when he came in, he showed at least the recruiting flashes of what it was. But go ahead.
The talent's there.
Yeah.
But he almost had football taken away. He bounced to 3 different schools. He got with the Brahms, who were one of the handful of people in college that truly can develop a quarterback mentally in terms of understanding verbiage and understanding concepts and reads and progressions and all that. And so he enters the league with a unique perspective and level of maturity that Cam Ward also has to a certain degree as well, with 3 different stops of his own in 5 years and what he went through. And a 0-star recruit. They came from, one's a 0-star, one's a 5-star. And his road was rocky.
Right.
Cam's was like chunks away. Right?
But Cam was like
Gabriel
challenging
too, by the way.
himself at each stop. though,
Correct.
Right?
And
Like,
so
Better and better.
100%. But his journey, my least favorite word in today's culture, but his experience was very different than Cam's. Had massive setbacks, and now you enter the league and you're like, yeah, I'm ready for anything. And if it's as a backup, I'll contribute.
yeah, because even some of the stuff with at least what I was talking about with Cam, some of those throws where it's just of all the things you're going to do, and clearly didn't get in the way of him going number 1, but I'd say the tape got better from, hey, what are you doing right now?
Washington State, man, there was a lot of like, what are we doing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
By the way, Ohio State with Howard,
Is that
14 picks by Ohio State. I asked the question, is the shift complete? The Big Ten, the best talent conference in college football.
we have all summer to talk about this.
We took a lot of heat for this in the fall. A lot of heat. Because Alabama's not Alabama anymore, so now.
Well, the Big Ten won back-to-back titles with 2 different teams for the first time in 80 years, so that's enough evidence for me.
So you're a Big Ten guy.
You're not worried it's top heavy?
I grew up a Big Ten guy.
No,
it's hard to come off SEC.
I think that the talent throughout that schedule is still a joke. They just didn't have good quarterbacks this year.
I mean, the Indiana run kind of shows the weakness of that conference.
I've never seen a fan base enjoy 2 late touchdowns that meant nothing more than the Hoosiers.
Yes.
In the playoff game?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Made it tight.
Yeah. Like that showed.
Yeah. We belong.
Look us up. Google us.
I win. Google me.
So you guys don't want to talk about Jonas Sanker and Quincy Riley and Devin Neal? I think the Saints had an awesome draft.
Sell me on it. Give me more.
What would you give him for a grade?
I don't do grades.
Chance,
Who else did you like?
wait. The pronunciation of the word is chance. Kelvin Banks is better than Will Campbell.
There's
a good chance.
You're getting, all right, let's do the Patriots thing. Let's do the Patriots thing.
Oh, you want me to do the rants again? Like,
No, you
it's starting to get unhealthy.
Bill Simmons came on our show.
I jumped him.
Mensch jumps him. There was like internet
that.
problems.
I didn't know what to do, man.
Trouble patching him in. He comes in. He's got his hat back.
I like that Mensch is like, I get it, but like, this is sort of my deal.
I introduced Mensch to like, dude, kind of like his boss in a way, and Steve, Bill, Steve.
Better content if you're not looking at it as a hierarchy, though.
Totally.
I wasn't gonna-
And Mensch jumps him. He jumps Bill's ass like right
But
away.
we doing a podcast or an HR meeting, you know?
It was awesome.
Bill's take was like, I made peace with it. I was like, really? You made peace with taking a guard at 4? That's great. I'm glad you made peace with it.
That must, no wonder it didn't go well. I would have just taken Jalen Walker again.
That I'm fine with.
Absolutely would have. Oh, no, are you
I'm
talking
not
about
fine
Patriots
with
or?
Patriots.
And then
My grade was really high on Walker,
And
obviously.
then it kind of went south when it was brought up the Vrabel put on the pads and worked him out. And I was like, I can't.
I can't respond to that.
I
look,
my vein in my neck was going.
I don't know. Like, Will's good.
He's great. He's a really good player.
That offensive line, I don't know if he was making up for other deficiencies. I mean, they had Emery went, what, in the 3rd round? So
That was bad. He was bad. He shouldn't have gone then.
But there was like a rep thing with that O-line going into this summer that it was
bad.
like, these guys are going to dominate, and somebody's going to have less time. Now, I would say over the course of watching them, I never really felt like, well, they can always count on the O-line. So then when you're taking the left tackle, and we know that it's one of your biggest needs.
Yeah.
I just hate the reaching stuff.
It's reach for
need.
Yeah.
Especially that high, where I think personally I would always default to, is this a big physical corner that is going to be able to hold up one-on-one? I'd prioritize that. I'd prioritize edge. And even in an edge-heavy draft where they're playing the value game that we just went through all of those names.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I haven't really liked their draft because I think
Who was it?
Tyler Loop, the kicker.
Aeneas Peebles.
I can't get mad at you about that.
Yeah.
I don't do kickers. I don't do punters.
Gotta get him written up.
Do you have one on Chase Lunt?
Did
Yeah, I do have Chase Lunt.
Did you do like
Get it ready.
Borgelis?
I did
The
do
Miami?
Borgelis.
You did or didn't?
Yeah, I did. I didn't want to do any kickers, and then the 3-year tallies told me about 5 would get drafted.
Yeah, the kicker game's tough. What are you gonna write? He was really accurate.
Give me a grade, Mensch. Give me a grade on the Pats right now with the kicker in the mix. Trevian, Kyle.
Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams
Jared
and
Wilson.
Jared Wilson.
Day 2 was A-. I thought that day 1, I don't know. I'm really high.
They traded up for Joshua Farmer. I'll let you write it real quick, Mensch.
Yep.
But be quick. He's a freaking kicker, would you? Like
You're gonna let me. I like that you let me do things. It's good.
5'11", 170, buddy.
I will.
You guys are the best.
No, that's Borgelis.
I know.
Okay.
I just screwed up the
Yeah, they got a D tackle here. They took in the 4th round, excuse me.
The Patriots drafted him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Miami kicker.
Right.
Why are we all live here?
You're gonna give me a sell. Who do we need to talk about? We're good on the Pats. I'm a little worried about the reach part of it.
Yeah.
I think if you're taking a left tackle 4, I think I want to see like Jake Long type shit.
I will say this. I had him as a 12th overall player. I don't like taking the 12th player at 4. And yes, I can't stand drafting for need, but I know this as an organization. There are 3 assets in this organization and only 2. If I'm Robert Kraft, there's 3 assets I'm looking at that I have in this Patriots organization. 2 of them actually play on the field. One of them is Vrabel, and I would put him in this order of assets. It's Drake May, Vrabel, Christian Gonzalez. And the rest is like, and now you brought in Milton Williams, yeah, but like, so.
At one point, it was the least talented roster, arguably, in the NFL.
Absolutely. It was down there, bottom 2, bottom 3.
Right.
And so that has all shifted, but none of it matters. Like I was talking to Joe Douglas last year, and I don't think he'll mind if I share this. It was a real hard decision to make. Mm-hmm. I think he was just sharing how a couple of years ago they really wanted to draft Jahmyr Gibbs, and the flip-flop for Aaron Rodgers took him out of that spot. And they took Will McDonald, and that turned out to be a great pick. But anyone with a brain recognized, well, the Jets have a tight end need. Brock Bowers is awesome. But the only way this thing doesn't, if Aaron Rodgers comes back and is actually what we thought we were getting before the Achilles injury, the only thing that just derails this, it's not going to be whether we have a tight end or not. Like, he will elevate it, but it won't derail it. What will derail it is if we can't protect going on 40 quarterback coming off an Achilles. And so you got to take Olu Fashanu, right? Yeah, Penn State. And they did. And he played up and down this past year. Doesn't matter. But But my point in this is the only thing that derails the Patriots is if we can't protect this guy. And by the way, he was knocked out of 2 games, one with a concussion, another one, and I was at that Jets game, knocked out, and like the game went from exciting and the energy and the offense and things were rolling and it wasn't all pretty. And
You're
then,
talking 24, right?
Yeah.
Because like May didn't even complete that many passes, but you loved Drake May. I think you tweeted out like how much you loved him, even though statistically it was like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
you could just tell he was in control. Nothing was going too fast.
I remember when you sent the tweet, I'd watch the game. I was like, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
I love that.
But
you
yeah,
were
so-
able to look beyond the box score.
So Vrabel then goes down to Dallas, and they bring him in for a visit, and they talk, and like his football brain is beyond anything that you would expect, and everyone said that. And Vrabel fell in love with him, and now it's like we need leadership in this O-line room. There's a lot that went into this. I'm not saying I'm in love with the pick, but I understand the pick, I guess is the best way to put it. But here's the thing: you grew up in the vineyard. You've been around these Patriots organizations when they were great and when they were horrible, and then when they were great, and then now this little run we're on right now. Outside of Randy Moss, who's the last guy, if you like really close your eyes and think, who's the last guy that you're scared if he, as an opponent?
Well, Aaron Hernandez is scared. No, I mean, he was a tough cover. You could play him outside, put him in the slot.
You're on a heater today. I love it.
You're right. Guys that scare you.
Impact. Get the ball in their hands, and it could
I like
they could catch a
David
screen
Givens.
and go.
I liked David Givens a lot when he was there.
Yeah, but like.
No, your point is.
So
is
Travion
made.
Henderson, like
Yeah.
think about that 70-yard screen catch against Texas.
I think about Travion as a freshman.
Yes.
Like when he came onto the scene at Ohio State, it's weird.
was
Like his
different.
story almost went in this circular route because then Judkins comes in and he's like the higher profile, more dynamic guy.
Because
and
he can't be the guy. He's got to be a complement to the guy, just like Jahmyr Gibbs.
So why'd you take him in the second round?
Because he can do something that nobody else can do in this class.
Break.
He can take that screen pass and go 70 before halftime.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then Kyle Williams, another speed receiver. I'm just saying they haven't had speed and they haven't had protection. And now their first 4 picks are Compton, Henderson, Kyle Williams, and Jared Wilson. So,
Dude, Riley Leonard, Colts.
I'm surprised he lasted this long. I talked to a lot of people in the league who liked him.
See if he picks up any garbage at the rookie event.
Huh?
Just the Colts QB thing.
Oh, that's their role?
The leaders do it. Hey, can we talk Kansas City here?
Please. Anything but picking up garbage at a rookie event.
Josh Simmons, Norman Lott,
Yep.
edge guy there from Louisville. If you were to say, I want to trust somebody in the mud, where does Kansas City, where does Veach rank on evaluation of that kind of stuff? Because the O-line thing, we are on a roller coaster of O-line production from Holmes here. But I absolutely love how they reinvented this defense on the fly. And all the people that I love the overall job that they've done. I think is terrific, and it isn't just about Mahomes, but clearly the O-line thing here is a big problem outside because we all like the interior guys, right?
They've been awesome picking defense for the most part. They've been up and down with some other positions. Obviously, running back, offensive line. I'm actually going, this is a good point you're making. I'm going to Kansas City. Drafthistory.com. I don't know who runs it. I have no affiliation, but it's the fastest way to get to all these things. When did they draft Mahomes?
18? Or was that the first year he played? Was that the
Well, it
17
would be-
draft with all those guys, and then he played in 18?
Mahomes is 17.
Yeah.
Okay? After that, their next draft, Speaks, Nandi, defensive tackles, linebacker, DB, defensive tackle. 6 picks, all defense. 2019, McCole Hardman, but then DB, defensive tackle, DB. 2020.
Nicole didn't quite buy in. I don't know that he was a tone setter for the culture.
Well, they've missed on the skill guys, is my
Yeah.
point. So then, but
they've been on top of that, they've missed, and they've been unlucky with the guys that look like Rice looked like he's going to be a guy.
They have absolutely no fear when it comes to character, off the field kind of stuff. They don't, and that's been proven over time. Every year it's been heavy, heavy defense. And I've got this theory that when you find your quarterback, load up on the defense, because the quarterback can make up for sins of 10 other guys.
Well, certainly that guy can, yeah.
If you've got
no, this is really interesting. Right.
But immediately, teams that are really good at this, they shift it immediately. Like the Eagles, the Ravens, when they get their guy at quarterback, they shift it because and you find closers. Because I'm trusting that this guy that we know is great and is going to be our guy for a long time, he's going to get us out to leads. Now we got to get closers because we're going to have leads. We got to be able to close out games. And so they've done a really good job with that. But they've been up and down with some of their picks and the offensive skill and some of the old linemen. But Josh Simmons is the all-time risk-reward for the Chiefs. Josh Simmons, some of the character stuff, it's not like no horrible incidents, nothing crazy. But
yeah, we're talking like need, though, maybe at 32 versus 4.
Right.
Right.
I'm telling
Muench raises his hand
I'm telling you right now, Josh Simmons is noticeably more talented than the number 4 overall pick in Will Campbell. Noticeably. The bend, the movement,
I wish we had a soundtrack to lay under that. That was heavy.
Yeah, like noticeably better.
That's the same face I've been making, by the way, for the whole process. Every time I bring up the kid's name.
But is he going to buy in?
Right.
So Andy Reid's got a project on his hands, but if he develops this guy and hits, all of a sudden this offensive line is going to take another step finally. And the biggest problem that they had in the Super Bowl, and really one of the biggest problems they've had for the last few years, has been protection up front.
I mean, I just look at this group, and like McDuffie's a stud. Obviously, Bolton's a stud when he can play. I think Tranquil's turned into something here. Karlaftis absolutely has.
See what I'm saying?
Amenahu, Leo Chanel, I always feel like shows up, is making plays, finishes tackles.
Chris Jones, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they've reinvented themselves at corner here. You know, when you look at the receiver part of this, like I thought Rice was going to actually work out for him.
And so what do? That's their trend. They'll take an offensive player, whether it's a weapon or an offensive lineman early, and then they'll just load back up on defense. Pick
like
2.
Xavier Worthy's not a 1. You know, everybody lost their minds week 1. I've already referenced this too many times on my show, but it was like a very classic disconnect of the Saturday and Sunday people of like week 1, Xavier Worthy, they're using him, and it's like, I can't believe. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, you know, you guys spend months trying to figure out who are the guys that look really cool in highlights and who actually know how to play the position.
Right.
And he was, you know, so is he a 1? He shouldn't be a 1.
No, they just need more explosives. They need
Sky Moore. It's not really happening.
They missed on. I'm telling you, the offensive skill guys, they have had a hard time.
Yeah.
But Worthy provided, like, you're talking in the end of the first. He's basically a second-round receiver, but he provided, I think, this past year what they were hoping to get.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's just.
Would you rather Lad McConkey or would you rather Xavier Worthy?
Oh, Lad.
Right.
Absolutely, but didn't he go after?
No, McConkey went after.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you, but I also, if I'm Andy and I'm Brett.
I'll just admit,
like,
even though I watched him, I'd have a hard time watching Xavier Worthy run around next to Lad McConkey and be like, I'll take Lad.
It's true.
I mean, I read him rated higher.
Went after.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little like the Alex Caruso thing. You're like, there's no way this guy's good, is he? Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Like he's already, what's going on with his hair? He's like 23. So
I get it though.
right. I don't know. I think Veach is great. I think Veach is bold, and you know when they had the disastrous protection situation for Mahomes against Tampa Bay, where immediately you went, okay, this is probably going to be a long-term problem. They fix it. You know, they put back into the O-line. They figure it out. Again, we love the interior thing, as I mentioned. And then here we are again. It's almost the exact same story, where you felt like all of the good stuff doesn't matter, even with the best guy in the world behind center. It doesn't matter if you're going to sit there, especially with Philly just being 4-man rush all night long, and you can't do anything against it because you don't like your tackles and you're moving Thuney out.
So everyone wants us. We did a poll, I guess. I didn't turn. I actually talked to a really high-level NFL personnel person. That's what they were saying about Campbell. Like, I love Campbell. I love him the person, but like, if it's not working out at tackle, he's probably gonna have to move into guard. And like I just have visions of teams tuning him to death. like what the Eagles did to him, the long arm and Super Bowl stuff.
You know, that's a good. You just made a segment idea. Like I think people
This is two.
Right, but after like they get together in high school, and then 10 years down the road, and I don't want to knock like any profession or anything. It's like, hey, what happened to that guy? He seemed to have like life by the balls, right? You know?
Yeah, I think I can think of two off the top.
Ladies loved him. Guys wanted to be him.
Yeah.
He was a good.
Two friends are like that, or two?
Good
Yeah,
shape.
people in high school are like
Right. But the point that I'm getting to is that
a lot of potential.
I thought that guy. Like, I'm not saying he's doing bad. I just had much bigger expectations, and I think we should just trademark this and turn it into an everyday thing where you just look at your friend asking questions about the awesome guy, and you're like, "We bumped him inside the guard." I think we should adapt that to life.
We bumped him inside the guard.
Yeah, be like, "What's up with that guy?" And you're like, "Is he living at home right now?" It's like, no. He's got a rent. He's actually renting out a place, but like, there was a mortgage thing that I think had happened.
I'm not
but
sure
I
he's
think
going to work out a tackle, but
it's gonna be all right.
It's always he'll be a damn good guard.
He's never moving out of town.
We just bumped him in the guard.
Yeah, but he kind of just realized, I'm not a tackle. I'm not a tackle of life. I'm a guard.
We had a poll.
Okay.
We had a poll.
What do we got?
Which team's draft should we discuss next? The leader is the Raiders.
Oh, let's go. Let's get Muench back here. When are you done with this kicker
what
profile?
kicker?
Are you still on the
I feel like you're milking it.
Yeah, do you know?
And I wouldn't care.
I
Like,
gotta admit, this couch isn't the most comfortable thing I've ever sat on, but
I wouldn't care, but I'm just getting like a
it's
stiff
for
neck.
sale, by the way, if anybody's interested.
It's for sale.
I
Facebook
love-
Marketplace.
That's the only time in an hour and 32 minutes Russillo has looked at his single shot, and it wasn't even on him. Raiders, Ashton Ginty. That was a surprise. Wasn't a surprise for like 3 months leading up to the draft. Just don't bump the camera.
You guys are great.
But then good job by SpyTech and that organization. They got some crafty word out there that they're not going Ginty late, and it got everyone off.
Robodope.
Yep. The information was offensive tackle. Then I got as specific as Kelvin Banks.
So you had someone straight up lie to you.
Oh, I don't think they lied to me. I think they got lied to and bought it.
See you guys later.
This is almost like a.
Luke Newman?
Yeah.
That Mulaney guy thinks he's killing it with that live show on Netflix.
Luke Newman.
This is at the same level.
Have you watched that?
Hey, 1 sack allowed on 400 pass block snaps last year at Michigan State.
Yeah, I'll watch the tape.
Don't they just run the football?
Have you ever? Can you? No, listen.
They had 7 passing attempts last year.
Listen.
It's a Big Ten joke.
What's happening now?
What was going on? Oh, he's a heavy typer.
Oh my gosh.
It's so bad.
Mensch, type a sentence.
Dude.
The Raiders.
Usually it's
Let's talk about it. We
let's
appreciate everyone getting going on the polls.
I want to hear about it. I'm gonna shut up here.
So Ginty was a surprise that wasn't a surprise but turned into a surprise, right?
Right.
That aside, I guess the question for me was always like, are they in a position to draft an Ashton Ginty? As they try to turn things around.
They're on the SEC run right now.
The answer is they absolutely Pete Carroll didn't come in here to do a 5-year rebuild, just period. And so.
You hearing anything good day to day on
Chip,
Brady?
think about Chip. Chip lives down the street, right?
Yeah, not as close to the beach, but yeah, he's in the area.
Okay. Think about Chip with Ginty.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to work to make sure, like, his best thing I'm sure he's evolved a million different times, but, right, isn't a lot of it considered that it's pretty simple, and then basically he's leading you into these mismatches where all of a sudden he's opening up lanes with concepts.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, can you imagine getting to work with Ginty and do this stuff? And the thing that I thought was really important, too, with Ginty, and we talked about it with you guys when we did it, it's like, don't make the mistake of thinking because he was in this conference. Like, granted, the numbers were better because of the conference he was in, but I thought the Penn State tape was
He had
terrific.
no blocking. And
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking at that game specifically being like, is he going to get his ass kicked against the NFL? Because Penn State's defense, loaded with a bunch of guys, liked a lot of guys on that side of the ball. but not the case. So keep going though, because I don't want to talk about it as much because I know that
No.
you're going to have the full scope of it more than I will.
No, and we're doing like God knows how long tomorrow, and all 32 teams and breaking it all down. I'm not worried about that.
So you love Genty is your pick.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
love Genty because of what? Gino? Because of Chip? What? Like,
I don't think they're planning on doing a 2 or 3 year rebuild. Gino's turning 35. Pete's turning
85.
right.
No,
So,
I don't know,
but like
look that up?
late 70s. Stats and info. So yeah, let's bring in weapons. Let's ride. Let's roll. Jack Besh, I love that pick in the second round.
dude, Besh was a freak, complete matchup nightmare when he was at LSU.
I don't know how he got out of there. Like, what was the deal?
They just, I don't know. Honestly, I still can't believe how little they used Mason Taylor towards the end of it. So I know I already said that 3 times.
He is physical. He will block his ass off. You know,
Besh is a baller. Dude.
It's what Chip's whole thing is the run's going to set up the pass, and it sounds so remedial, but like the concepts are off the run, and our receivers gotta block.
Yeah.
They gotta block. Besh is one of the best blocking receivers in this draft. Great hands, works the middle of the field. Like he's just think about Chip stuff with like this receivers, like you know, like,
Mesh concepts.
and like
Crossers?
all the different things that they do, and finding soft spots.
When I think about Chip's offense, I think about, okay, we're going to go a little bit of here, and then we're going to go to a little bit of here, and maybe it's a first down, maybe it's a 2nd and 5, and then you think you have it, and then Besh is going to be running down the fucking numbers wide open. Because nobody, they fell for everything that was setting up this seam thing. And that to me is like, whenever I think about offenses and guys, like whenever I think of Ohio State and Ryan Day, I think of a wide open post over the middle of the field.
Oregon.
Right. But Oregon to me was always that.
No, against Oregon in the college football playoff.
The Ibuka throw?
Two Ibukas down the pipe.
Stupid.
And Tennessee, Ibuka down the pipe.
Hey, eventually we're going to beat you over the top, and our receiver is just going to run inside the post, and your guy's never going to be as good most often in this matchup against us. So, yeah, I do have different teams and their coaches where I always think of like, oh, this is – with Chip, it is that, I swear to God, it is the tight end – just sneaking out.
Or the slot receiver.
Slot receiver, fine.
And that's what Besh is.
That's why I love the pick. And the fact that they were like, I would love to know how much Vegas looked at the early LSU tape and was like, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been through a lot, too.
Darian Porter, the 3rd round pick, you talk about, he's got Tariq Woolen type traits. Former wide receiver, kind of still figuring it out. Not perfect in terms of technique and coverage. I'm telling you right now, and Muench always blasts me for it. I'm glad he's not sitting here right now.
Hey, can you give me your breakdown on Thornton?
I'm in the middle of a sentence.
All right. Yeah, but you just said something.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm getting tired.
Okay.
It's been a big night.
I still have to watch 10 hours of basketball.
Reek Woolen's tape was trash at UTSA.
It was not trash.
It was not very good.
But it wasn't trash.
It was not very good.
Trash is low.
And he went in the 5th round, so the league kind of like, but there's traits. And Porter's traits are absurd. 6'3", 195 pounds, long arms, ran a 4.32 or something silly. And he's a former receiver. Goes up and gets the ball. I think he's going to be a player. So those first 3 picks are slam dunks. And they got a William and Mary offensive tackle. I won't even hold him against him as a Richmond guy. And Mench's guy, Pegues, best running back in the SEC.
6'4", very long arms, 205, ran a 4.26.
Who?
Reek Woolen.
Okay, give me the
So what were you going to ask when you rudely interrupted?
That's all right. It's a live broadcast. You'll be okay. I, on paper, sort of love the receiving group for Tennessee. I think at times we looked at the room and were like 1 through 3, potentially 4. Like, that's a really good group put up against anybody else. And then we saw in that game at Columbus, that might have been the coldest football team I've ever seen. It was the least interested in playing football in a really long time.
Shirts off,
You
though.
know, it kind of like, I used to always think it was a bit of a bullshit excuse to be like, oh, it's because all these teams have to play in New Orleans and Atlanta. They never have to play up here. I'm like, dude, whatever. That game, I've opened my mind up to the possibility of some dudes just don't like it to be cold.
I agree. I got really caught up in the fact that Ohio State had lost to Michigan just before that, right? And I was like, this game, Tennessee's going to roll them. That Tennessee defensive front.
Anything.
Oh, wait, stop.
What?
Stop. Are you done? Pause. Don't move.
Yep.
Are you done typing about?
Well, I don't know what's coming next.
Okay, hold on. Don't move. First of all, do you play guitar?
Oh, yeah. Folk, though, and finger picking, not traditional.
Muench plays guitar.
That's standard tuning on the right,
Muench, give
open
me,
C on the left.
Give me something right now on the broadcast. You can't say no. Whose car are we going to take? That's the theme of the day.
There's a pick in the, yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's up there.
Well, no,
We'll get to Thornton here in a second.
I mean, that's my
pretty
boy.
good.
That's my boy.
Does that work?
Yes.
Good.
All right. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Do you not know your surroundings? You've been looking back there the whole time.
No, my neck is tight.
Here we
And
go.
I've only, I look over, I see the hills in the background, I see Marissa, I see Jake, I see Tucker, but I can only see,
So you can't
peripheral.
read the whole field right now.
I'm having trouble. We've been sitting in a lot of studios and seats, and, It's time to get out and live. It's time to get out and live.
Let me know if we got a record deal.
That was beautiful, Muench.
Who was the best receiver on Tennessee last year?
I think,
Why do I love Brew McCoy so bad?
why are we talking
His
about
tape's
Tennessee?
good.
I like Brew McCoy. I think he's going to.
By the way,
I think he's going to sneak around the league for a while and become like a number 4, like a possession
I think
guy.
he's from right over that hill.
You know, my theory
Is he?
is Nico was never that good. We
He
thought
played volleyball, though.
I actually thought after the Ohio State game, I was like, this kid's gonna be really good. And you watch the tapes, and it's like, man, you cannot hit the deep ball. You could never hit the deep ball all year.
No, I waited all year on the Nico game.
Come on, man.
And look, I think it's the Arkansas game where their starter went out, and you're still like, what is going on with you guys?
Hold on. I want to do this. Keep going.
I don't have anything more. I mean, Tennessee, Thornton went to the Raiders. That's why I was bringing it up.
The speed,
Because some people like Squirrel, and so I just was trying to figure out how he fit in comparison to, again, at certain times in Tennessee, you're like, hey, look at all these playmakers. Look at who they have at running back. Maybe it was about Nico.
I wonder if I have this game downloaded.
Are we pulling up game clips?
Yeah, which
145
we
in?
I've never seen anything like it, man. Every single game, it's like he had to get it out of his system, Nico, with the overthrow the deep ball early.
Oh my God! Yeah.
It was part
great
of the
call.
game plan. I don't think I'm on the Wi-Fi. I'm not going to give out your cell phone number to get in the Wi-Fi. It's fine. I've never seen anything like it. I think it was Mississippi State. Mississippi State's defense, not good. And he just overshot it by 25 yards out of the back of the end zone.
The Arkansas game, there was an incredible ball that he hit. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about Nico too. This is my fault.
No, it's
And then-
absolutely your fault.
Yeah, right. And then I'm trying to remember because he was the other guy. He was Kitzelman, who.
How much did
transferred.
Mench's Mafia just grow with just 30 seconds of?
That was nice.
That was
really nice.
That was
Was it good?
sweet.
Good fretting.
You know how I didn't go?
I'm not very good.
I didn't go with
Freddie.
anything known because then you just mess it up and they're like, yeah, I guess it sort of sounded like.
Yeah. You know who does a good job of that song? The people that wrote it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And you're just like, that's harsh. Although I did sit through a slower second half of Fish last night, so that.
Was it?
Yeah, well, they're just experimenting a little bit. But when somebody who's been with the band 30 years turns to me, he's like, "Do you know this song?" I was like,
Do we have any other questions from folks? Because we're coming up towards the end, and I want to make sure
"You want to
we're-
finish strong."
Well, yeah, I just want to make sure if you sit here for 2 hours, the nonsense is fun and it's exciting and it's good to be around.
I feel like I'm getting scolded a bit.
You're absolutely not. You're absolutely not. It's carried it. Let me ask you this before we answer some questions or get to a poll.
Joe
Can I
Huber,
confirm
6'5".
Can I confirm right now? I absolutely want you involved. It's the core principle of it. But even if you can't, because of your NBA responsibilities, I've got to watch playoff games, draft week.
Right, 22-hour weekend. It's fun.
Can we lock this in? Should I decide to choose, we're never going to a draft again and freezing our asses off or sweating my onions off? If I choose that we're going to be in LA to do this for the foreseeable future, can we lock in day 3 at Russillo's house? Even if you have to be in and out and we're just invading your house.
I had so much fun doing this. I'm dreading the rest of the day, but I've told myself.
Well, maybe next year don't go to Fish the night before.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. Maybe next year I'll tell Miami and Cleveland not to play a game 3 in the first round. So
But how hard? Like, first of all, was this hard?
no, but
And how hard is it to watch NBA games tonight?
none of this is hard. It's about the time. This now means that I have Lakers, Minnesota. I have to watch second half. I have to watch.
Have they started?
No, that's last night.
Geez.
Tweezer reprised 3:40 into the concert. Minnesota finishing that one out. What else? What else in the draft? What else? What are the other headlines here? 'Cause we got to finish draft strong.
We do.
I know I have a tendency to derail things at hour 2, and I don't want to do that to you or your audience.
Giants. A lot of questions about the
Giants
Giants.
football.
We got to get to NYG, right?
Okay.
Giants. The people are asking, and we're going to respond. Thank you, Marissa, for keeping us informed on what the people want. And I guess we haven't really gotten to the. Well, we talked about
second round.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Wow. Scatterboo. Pro. Gimmick.
Here, honestly, he got a little bit of the Shedeur Sanders stuff. Like, it's just he can be a lot to. Not that
Dude, the
Shedeur
broadcast
brings with him a lot.
Yeah.
Scatterboo is a lot. Apparently,
All you had to do was read between the lines of every broadcast. And it was
100%.
like, hey, he did a really good job of like working with his teammates and his conditioning. It's like, so he was a fat dickhead last year? Like that's
I
basically
love that
what they-
you get to say the things that I don't think.
No, but that was, I'm not
saying
calling him that. The messaging on multiple broadcasts was like, kind of a dick, little chubby. And you're like, dude, take it easy.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of went into watching his tape. Like, I watched all season long, right?
Yeah.
But I saved like 6 games to watch after the season was over. I saw the interviews, the me, and loud, and like all that, and I'm watching him. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, what he's doing is awesome, but I don't know how it is going to work in the NFL. And then I put on the tape, and I'm like, it's going to work. I loved his tape.
No kidding. All right.
He is so freaking powerful from the ground up, and he's lighter on his feet, and he runs a little high. He's not going to last long. Like, you can't have that run style, run that high, and last that long. But as a GM, like, if I get 3, if I could get 5, awesome. If I get 3, he is different, man. He bounces off everything. And he's just, it's like weird because you look at the body type and you look at all, like, the packaging doesn't match up, but he's light on his feet. I came away more impressed by Scatterboo than I was watching the games, and I thought it was going to be the exact opposite experience.
It was so much fun to watch, and considering what he was doing towards the end there, the Iowa State game, like, he was,
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of was just on his, it felt like he was almost on his own.
Yes. Texas.
Texas game.
The Texas game.
Texas, yeah. I didn't know if you. Texas was out of this world. And then you get Tyrone Tracy, who was a great find in the 5th round last year for the Giants, right? And so, but Tracy's more. This guy's just, and will grind it out. Devin Singletary's there. It's a good complimentary piece. Catches the ball well. I like that pick. But my favorite pick of the actually.
Do you think I'm wrong, by the way?
Joe Shane has done an awesome job. Go ahead, I'll come back to it.
Do you not understand what I'm talking about when the announcers are kind of giving you the read
100%.
between the lines thing?
100%.
And with Scatterboo, it was constant. Like, every week when you start dialing into those games, it was like, did you guys just hand over the notes? Like, Gus Johnson will even have something. But then every now and then with Gus, you're just like, Trey Harris, this guy grew up and he had a dog. And the dog died. And Joel, they ate the dog.
What?
And that's why they've said since high school, he's got that dog in him. 3rd and 7, Michigan.
Mensch, get back here. I need help. I need help.
What were you going to say?
Joe Shane's had a good draft. It's not nearly as interesting as what you're talking about.
I agree. You know what's funny? I like Joe Shane. I like Joe Shane on Hard Knocks. I didn't like him. The first couple minutes, I'll admit, didn't really love him. Didn't really love him. And then as it kept progressing, I go, I'm a Joe Shane fan.
I've heard your take on this.
Why?
The whole take of he should have re-signed Saquon Barkley is
Thank you.
Like, what are you going to do? Like,
One of my
you're
best takes the last 2 years.
going to bring Barkley back on a bad team and spend way too much money on a running back, and it would have been the wrong move.
Why are you still over there, Muench?
I got to keep an eye on my stuff, man.
Another kicker go? I'll admit, Hard Knocks, Eberflus. I was like, I don't know, dude. I was like, I don't know. I think Hard Knocks can tell you the truth in the most yes.
It vets.
Yes.
Hard Knocks vets.
Even Rex. Rex was like, this guy's kind of a goof, man. Like, he's good, but he's
yeah, but everybody that I know that's played for Rex loves him.
Oh, loves him.
When he was a position coach, he was known as like the best.
Willie Colon, solid heterosexual resume. But he loves Rex Ryan.
Right.
Yeah. Joe Shane has nailed this thing.
Good transition.
Thank you. Darius Alexander belonged in the second. He got him in the third. After obviously pulling off the... And people were like, why is it brilliant? I don't understand. They gave up nothing. They gave up the 99th pick. It was a compensatory pick to move up to go get Jackson Dart ahead of. And this is the part that everyone forgets. I know I said it earlier, but it's where... There was a lot of talk. I think it was probable that the Rams were taking him at 26. So
I love this rumor.
So it's managing the draft. Let Brian pick his guy. He picked his guy. Now I got to manage this thing. We're taking it. We're taking the edge at 3. And Brian, I will get you your guy. You know how hard that is to say when your head coach is an offensive genius and we don't have the future quarterback and the answer. I'll get him.
How many reps is he going to get though?
The bench press?
No. It's not all about that, dude.
How much you bench, bro?
I'm talking about in practice.
That's the.
I can't wait until those leaks when Jackson's getting first-team reps and Russell Wilson's still on the roster.
Here's what I woke up.
I'm pre-looking forward to those.
Here's what I woke up to this morning. It was pouring rain, and I rolled over in bed, and I said, "That son of a bitch."
That was just too easy.
Give it to me.
That's so good.
And I saw rain. And I said, that son of a bitch got off easy.
I know.
But it's not raining. You're in those shorts that, honest to goodness, like...
I would love to know what people
They're going to be a thong soon. It's getting uncomfortable sitting next to you.
I would love to know what people think shorts are supposed to look like when you're sitting down.
At least you had a tan, man.
It's my house.
Life out here's not bad, right?
I don't want to... You're lucky I have a shirt on.
Yes. That was a requirement. You didn't answer my question. So we're good next year on day 3 of the draft year?
He likes to lock you in, huh? This would be the time.
It's the nature of our relationship for 20 plus years.
Like, it's your way, no problem.
No, but I mean, it is pretty crazy. Todd did give me my job at ESPN, and I'd like to think I had some input.
Right.
We handed it back to each other.
On this relationship.
Absolutely.
I still feel like you did me the bigger favor.
Don't give him that.
Don't give me that.
No, I mean, I didn't have a job, you know.
I didn't have one.
Yeah, I think you were more valuable when you were available than I was in 06.
Whatever.
Yeah, fine. Lock it in. But maybe we could do a tape delay.
We can tape it in the morning.
Yeah, let's just tape it super early in the morning.
And then Shedeur Sanders will fall to the 5th round, and it looks like a really stupid show. So.
No, we'll go live. We'll do it live, Bill O'Reilly style. Not a political statement.
But the pavement is dry. We talking 40 for social later or no?
Have
you been
next year?
Have you been running?
No, but I did 225 yesterday for you, so I can give you a number.
How many?
I got it 20 times, and that was good. I'm not even training for anything except an advantage over other human beings.
20 times.
I don't know who's worse right now.
He started this.
Take the show wherever you want.
My hamstring would not explode if I ran a 40 right now.
I don't think the 40 would be. When you started throwing around that I couldn't break a 6, was when I was offended.
He's just trying to needle you.
Yeah.
I was trying to get you in.
I know what you were trying to do. I know what you're trying to do.
What position would you call yourself if you know what I mean?
I think I'd be a heady safety that probably wouldn't do great in one-on-one coverage down the field.
All right, 2025 class. Let's go to bench press reps.
24 is my best.
24 is your best.
But You know,
I mean, bud,
I got 20 yesterday just seeing how it felt.
the best was Luke Kandra, guard from Cincinnati, at 33 reps this year.
Did I get more than Jack Sawyer?
Oh, no, wait.
That's important to me. Can we look that up?
Captain Jack. Is he doing it?
I don't think he did it, did he? Mike Green had 28. I'm trying to find someone who had. You had more than Savion Jones.
I knew that, actually.
And Tyler Barron. And you had the same amount as Femi Oladejo, who was a third-round pick.
Let's go see what Jack Sawyer did. Jack
He
Sawyer.
didn't do it at the combine.
If you didn't do it.
I don't believe.
21. So I'm almost like Jack Sawyer. This close.
Okay.
That's fine.
So next year you'll do the 40?
Where's
my, I brought the stopwatch too.
Did you really?
I swear to you.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Ever?
Not right now. Definitely not right now.
What if I bring my stopwatch back next year?
Fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll likely get hurt probably before it, so I'll have an excuse.
So Joe Shane,
Yes, great draft.
Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, in the 3rd round, should have gone in the 2nd. Cam Scadaboo in the 4th round, I had a 3rd round grade. Marcus Bow, I want to show you this. And there must have been some injury that I wasn't aware of. The Purdue offensive tackle, probably kicking the guard. It's one of those guys in life. He's living with his
What
mom.
happened to him? Moved him inside the
We
guard.
moved him inside the guard. I had him at 63 overall in this class,
Are you serious?
5th round. I'm saying Joe Shane's he's on a heater.
You love, though, when somebody is drafting to your board, though, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst year you've ever had? We're like, wow.
I don't.
Mensch, do you remember? Todd's
Yeah,
worst
Mensch
year?
would remember more than me.
It's so annoying.
You know, I got
accurate
10
he is with the top 100.
He's really good.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, I would defend you even if I didn't like you, but you were really good at this. I wouldn't have you on and be like, we get along really well socially, but God, that guy sucks at film breakdown, but let's have him on again every week. No, I think you're great at it, man.
Thanks, boss. Yeah, I mean,
How do we finish strong here? What do we need?
3 minutes. We got 3 minutes left. Are there any questions from the folks? I mean, they've gotten a lot here, way more than I expected. The entertainment level has been awesome. I'm looking here. There's got to be one more thing we can get to. What are you doing tonight? Watching games?
Yeah.
Dinner tonight late? Slay somewhere?
Yeah, we can go to Slay.
Is that your favorite place?
It's my favorite place because it's David Slay owns it. He owns a bunch of restaurants. He's a St. Louis guy. He's got a vineyard. So every now and then, I'm big on Vermentino right now. Don't tell everybody because I don't want the prices to get out of control. But yeah, it's just a great spot when people are in town, and he takes care of everybody. I'm not saying it's free, but you can get a table. But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm already 3 basketball games behind. It's 2:00, so.
So you're ready to go?
If you go out late for dinner, maybe. But
Okay.
yeah, I give myself a 4th round grade of making dinner tonight.
I got it. How surprised were you by Shedeur to the 5th?
Well, I don't know that there's ever been an example of the mock drafts messing with us this much on any single player. There's nothing that I can compare this to in, 20 years of paying attention, 20 plus years? Like, do we need to go back overall again for somebody to be that, like, the projection be that off of where they're potentially going to go? And I know we can talk about the valuation and all this different stuff. I'm not saying I loved all of it, and I can even understand a lot of the arguments about it. I think they completely miscalculated the entire thing. Like, you don't get to be that dude pre-draft experience when this is what they think of your talent. But still, Milroe ahead of him, Gabriel ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think he paid like an extra 3 rounds of pricing on whatever the league thought of him.
Yeah. It's a relationship world, man.
And they clearly had none. Or they only had strained
and
ones.
it's also just every interaction handled with the same amount, But anyway, it's my
Favorite pick?
of the entire
Birch.
draft.
Wow.
No kidding.
I loved how
Tyler Shuck to the Saints. We didn't even get into the Derek Carr situation. He may have an opportunity. My man. I texted you out of the blue because your voicemail's fucked up and you don't never pick up. And so I had to text you. And I texted you that
Xavier Watts, Atlanta.
That I needed help.
Where they got him? Not bad.
I needed help. Can't tell you. Never going to be able to ask me. And we're probably going to have to hurt someone. And you basically said, whose car are we taking?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
And,
great to see Muench, dude.
Great to see you too, man.
This has been awesome, brother. This wraps up our first draft ever together.
Yeah, this is our first cycle, yeah.
Yes. I've had an awesome time. I hope everyone appreciated it. We're back tomorrow, Sunday. I got to be totally honest. I'm looking out and it's like blue skies and ocean, and
Could be tough.
I'm pumped to go back in the studio and do like 2-3 hours of breaking down all 32 team deep dives. But we're here for it, and we'll do it. Thanks for hanging. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did, and we'll see you tomorrow. Later.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.